Today, I want to talk about how one of my mentorship students named Mike got a client for $2,000 per month. I'm using the wrong camera, that's why. I have one of these kind of special cameras to make sure I fixed the right one, but I didn't check it before I got on. So, yeah, right now it is Thursday. I'm in Michigan right now, and the weather's a little bit colder, so it's causing me to be like a little bit more dehydrated than usual. So you might see me like drinking water on the stream. That just kind of happens sometimes when I'm dehydrated. I need to like make sure that my body is rejuvenated and like it's good. Okay, cool. We're at the right camera. We're ready to go. So I'm gonna ask you to do a couple things. Just a really quick favor. If you're watching this thing live with me, write down hashtag Team Live. If you're watching this on the replay, write down hashtag Team Replay. Now, when you do that, I'm actually going to give you a bonus training that shows you how to go and get to 10 grand per month inside of 90 days. Now, why am I asking you to type those codes in? Number one is because the more people that like, comment, or share on a post on social media, the more people that see it, right? If you don't take any other tip away from me when it comes to posting content, it's if you can get people to like it, engage with it, share it, comment on it, it will be seen by a lot more people, and the result rate of it's a lot better. I'm not charging you money for these kind of calls when I'm giving these tips once a week inside our Facebook group or our LinkedIn profile. So one way you can encourage me to keep doing it is by engaging and helping me reach my goals with like getting as many people to see me as possible. So jumping into this thing, in order to start getting clients that are consistently paying you a higher amount of money, there's really three phases you have to go through. So the first phase is going to be value. Okay. So a lot of people have trouble getting people not even to pay 2,000. We're talking about most people have trouble getting $500, 600, 750 a month from clients. And it really comes down to the way that you explain value, and the reason why explaining value is difficult is because it's different for each person. Also, I forgot to say this. If you want some help growing your business, like maybe this is your first video you've seen watching me, or maybe you've seen a number of my videos and you want some help growing your business so you can avoid a lot of the mistakes that most people make when it comes to actually like reaching their goals, go ahead and click the link inside the description either above or below the video to book a call with myself or a member of my team to see if I can help you in our paid program. So attacking this thing. Value is tough because every person has a different understanding of what you do. They have a different understanding of what's driving you or driving them. They also have a difference in vocabulary. So to put this in perspective, oftentimes if you ever sit down with the business owner while you're doing a cleanup with them next to them, if you ever hear them go, "Why are we doing this?" or "What's the point of this?" or "Why should I have to do this?" that means they don't understand your value. Now, many business owners, when they're doing the consultation call with you, when you're presenting how you can help them out, they are saying that in their mind. They're just not telling you that. So you feel like it's going really well, but it's not because they just don't understand why they should be working with you. And then when you drop a price point that's a little bit higher than what they were expecting, they get cold feet. And it's not because your price was wrong or you priced it too high. It's just because the value wasn't there in their eyes. So you have to first identify, are you talking to someone that's focused on just growth? Like, are they focused on growth just from like a size perspective or number of employees? Are they focused on growth in terms of revenue growth? Do they want to grow their profit, like increase their profit, their margin? Do they want to go and become more efficient? Like what is the main driver? So whenever I'm talking to business owners, I'm always asking like, what are your goals? What's the challenges? Why? And I'm not necessarily just listening for them to like tell me what are like their surface level problems. I'm looking for their language patterns so I know who am I actually speaking to. Okay? You cannot speak to every single business owner the exact same. Now, your script and your flow of your consultation calls, yes, it'll be basically the same questions, but when you're presenting the value and when you're basically connecting the dots for the person, it has to change. For example, some people say the word couch. Some people say the word sofa. Some people say the word soda. Some people say pop, some people say soda pop. If you are trying to get them to understand you, you need to show them that you understand them. So I am not going to talk to a person that says soda and say pop, right? I'm going to try and say soda so I have more relatability, more understanding. If a person is talking about revenue growth, I am not going to be talking about just profit margin. I'm going to be talking about revenue. How will my service help you increase the revenue? If you don't know, that's okay. Your job is to figure that out because if you do not know how you can help them in these areas, they will not know. So, for example, how can you help a company boost revenue with bookkeeping or accounting services? Okay, one of our students has to do this last week. So he was talking to a new prospective client. The lady runs an e-commerce store, but she had a very acute problem. Last year at Black Friday, she sold out of all of her inventory for her most popular product on Black Friday. Didn't have any more in inventory until after Christmas. That means she missed out on Cyber Monday. She missed out on like the rest of the Cyber Week. She missed out on the people who were like getting ready to shop last minute for Christmas. So he says by showing you how to really calculate how much inventory you need and when you should be buying them, right? By doing cost accounting, it's going to allow you to be able to make an extra $500,000 to $1 million in revenue. Because this company was already doing like 3 million. They could have done like 4.5, 5 if they really had the right inventory. But again, they messed up because their former bookkeeper didn't really understand how to inventory, right? So that's already right there. You just showed them how you're going to add 500,000 to $1 million. Do you think that that person had problem paying him $3,000 a month for a service? No. $36,000 a year to get a minimum of $500,000. That's that's huge, right? But that's the language patterns. That person is not going to be saying, "Why should I pay you $3,000 a month?" That person's like, "Okay, cool. How do I pay you that? Do you take cash, credit, carrier pigeon, check? How do I get the money in your bank account?" Right? So it all comes down to your language pattern and what you're focused on when it comes to value. It could also be like maybe they have a very specific thing that they're trying to go and buy, right? So let's say, for example, you're talking to like a real estate investor. They have no financials done and they have to go and get a loan for an apartment building. My entire conversation is going to be about that. Hey, Carmen. Carmen just said hello. Good to see you, Carmen. Thank you for tuning into this thing live. I know I didn't tell everybody I was going to go live today because I was really last minute kind of thing because I wasn't really feeling great most of this day. But I wanted to come and show up and be like consistent. You know, that's a really big important thing for me is like consistency, right? Because you just do something consistently over and over again, it makes things so much easier in business. That's all business is when it comes to marketing. We'll touch on marketing in a minute, but first things first, it's value. Now, why am I spending so much time on value? It's because when I first got started with my firm, like I didn't understand this. I would always like go and like try and talk to someone. I would like, speak accountantese, right? But then when I would get to the end of the price, I'd be like, hey, yeah, it's $450 a month. And the business owner would be like, oh, that's so much more than what I was expecting. And I'd be like, wouldn't make sense to me because it was like the whole like last 30 minutes, you were telling me you had a problem. You were telling me that like you needed to fix this thing now. I say $450 a month and now you don't have any money. You just told me you're doing $1 million a year. How can you not afford 450? I didn't really understand because like no one was really understanding what I was saying. No one wanted to pay me that amount of money because I just couldn't connect the value to it. And then business owners were like literally just be sitting there like they couldn't wait for me to get out of the office, right? And it's just like if you understand value, you're gonna be able to like pull them in because now you're speaking the same language. It's almost like imagine that you're in China, right? And then you go and you're surrounded by people who speak like Chinese, right? You're not going to really feel that connected to them. But if you ever see another American in there and you both speak English, you guys are going to become instant friends because you're both speaking the same language in a foreign land. That's how these business owners feel when they're interviewing different accounts, different bookkeepers. It's a foreign land. They don't understand it. It's not making sense. Why do they need to do it? And they see someone like yourself, or even though you do accounting, you talk like a business person. Now they fully understand. Now they want to work with you, right? And they actually feel bad when you say your price is high and they say no. Like they'll feel bad, right? Like I like they literally feel like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like I really wanted to go. Like I could only afford to do $1,000 a month. That's kind of my budget right now. So I know you're charging $1,500 a month, but if I could do it, then I would do it. And what really happens there is they actually come back around like a week later, right? If you're really good, they come back a week later and they end up paying it. They just stretch their budget, right? Because when there's an absence of value, they can never afford it. When the value is there, they find a way. It's very, very simple. Very simple. Okay. Next thing is going to be marketing. And also, before we go there, if you understand that principle, put a one down inside of the chat below. Put a one. I know we don't have a huge amount of people watching at the moment while it's live, so I'm going to start putting some ones in the chat. So I'm going to spam the chat and get some engagement going. Now, when it comes to marketing, you need to understand that marketing in the beginning is about blanketing a set of targets in individuals. How most people think marketing is when they first get started is that they take a sniper rifle, they see a target, and they shoot it, and now they have a sale. That does work to a certain degree, but the reason why it's hard is because you cannot necessarily control the time frame with which someone works with you. So I was having this conversation with one of my students. Um, she had just gotten started in the program, I think like a weekend, and like she had some stuff kind of going on, so she didn't really have a lot of time to kind of implement some of our processes. And she's like, "Yeah, I haven't gotten a lot of results yet." I was like, "Well, one, it's been a week. That's not a very long time. Two, you haven't really earned the right to get a client." Like it might look like some of our bigger students, like the ones that are like, 15, 20, 25 grand a month, like, yeah, they're doing really well. But you got to understand, you have 200 people that know you exist. These people each have 230 people that have agreed to wanting to do services, and now they're just following up with. And I teach you like what to say to even find those first 230. I also teach you how to follow up with the 230. So like once they're either interested but they haven't pulled the trigger yet, we talk about how to stay in front of them, right? But they basically canvas the market, and we're basically creating future revenue for ourselves. When you're starting out, you cannot just think about feeding yourself today. You should be thinking about how to feed yourself for the next like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, even to the point to where maybe you want to retire by doing this business first and retiring, or you want to sell the business or even pass off to your children. But if you're always thinking about how can I find one client today, you're always going to really be struggling. So think in terms of systems of how can you start building up enough relationships so then 1 month, 2 months, 3 months from now, when they all come back and say that they've changed their mind, they want to work with you, now it's a meaningful amount of people, right? That's the big, that's how you end up getting like 20, 30 clients that are each paying you. Like let's say you have 30 clients that are each minimum paying you $500 a month. What about $15,000 a month right there? I mean, that's a very simplified way of doing it. And then when you get bigger clients, like maybe you get a client that's 1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, it makes it so much easier for you guys to hit those higher revenue goals. And maybe your revenue goal is not to hit 20,000 a month. That's okay too, right? You can of course just taper down. Like once you hit your goal, you can just stop and you can coast. Maybe you create a wait list for like if like one of your clients end up like going out of business or whatever. But think in terms of how to get multiple clients. There are two main ways I like doing this. Number one is through LinkedIn. The reason why is because as your LinkedIn network gets more and more like connected, you're having repeat conversations with people over and over. It's like maybe they say like, "Hey, today I'm looking for this service, but I'm not quite ready today." Okay, when will you be ready? They tell you a week from now. You talk in a week from now, and then maybe they say another 2 weeks, another 2 weeks, another 2 weeks. But as long as they're interested, you start stacking these conversations like 20, 30, 40 people that all said they're ready. And then after the end of like a year, you have half of those people have said yes and have paid you money. So rather than just kind of like chasing people around or cold call and you're like going to networking events, you're building this asset, which is your LinkedIn profile, which allows you to have a network of people that not only want to work with you, but they refer their friends to you. That happens a really, really good percentage of the time if you do really good work and if you understand how to like deal with like the client communication properly, right? So that's a system. Another system you can use would be partnerships. Now, partnerships are any platform, person, organization, entity that is sending clients to you. One misconception that people have is that the only people, oh no, my camera. One misconception. I remember why I don't use this camera anymore. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw that like red kind of like camera ring, but that's why I don't use this camera anymore because it actually broke a long time ago. But I couldn't find another one. Um, yeah, I break a lot of cameras. But the reason why this stuff is so important too with partnership is that just because you have clients does not mean your clients are going to refer other people. That's one kind of misconception. What I like doing is I like building relationship with people that already have the best quality clients sitting in their pocket. Now, for every person, it can be different. Maybe if you've been in churches all your life, you could have a referral partnership network of pastors. One of our students actually did that. Right? His name was Chris, and his main referral partners were like churches, like their pastors. So then whenever they'd have like a guest speaker, they would talk to the guest speaker. They would invite him to go like visit like some of their events and different things like that, and then he just get this network of people who would come there, right? So it just worked really well. You can get financial advisors. It really depends on you and who you get along with. I get along really well with like therapists. I also get along with real estate and insurance agents. I don't get a lot of referrals from real estate or insurance, but I'm really good friends with them. I like therapists a lot more. I just understand their language, how to just understand everything about them. It just like works really well. And that's why it's like you can't just think, okay, I just want to go after CPAs. It's like, well, do CPAs actually like you? That is a real thing where like maybe you talk to 20 or 30 CPAs and none of them like you, or you just don't get along with them, right? So it's like you can't just do what everyone else is doing. You need to think for yourself. And like when we're working together inside of our program, like we do help you think through those and talk about who is the best partner for you, so you don't have to like go through all that trial and error. But you have to be thinking in terms of system. So when you do a partnership, like you want to be thinking, how can I stack 5 or even 10 people? If 10 people are on your partnership list, and they each send you between, we'll say 1 to 4 consultations a year, right? Let's say they do each send you 4 consultations per year, right? That's one per quarter. Times 10, that is 40 consultation calls. If you get 40 consultation calls, you should be closing at least at, we'll say a minimum 50%. 50% of the people that speak to you should actually end up paying you money. Okay, if it's below, you might need to work on your sales skills. We can definitely help you do that. We give you like sales scripting as well as sales training inside of our program. But if you're below 50%, yeah, we have to. It's not that it's necessarily a bad thing. Like, it's a bad thing, but don't get hard on yourself. Okay, we can always improve it, right? You have to start somewhere. So let's say 40 consultation calls, 50% minimum. That's 20 clients. Let's say you do 20 clients under $500 per month minimum. That's minimum. Of course, more, but minimum. $10,000 a month, and you're automatically going to get your six-figure goal, right? So it's like, and plus even including taxes too. So you can do this. You just have to think in terms of systems, okay? Don't get so caught up in like I have to find the magic client. It's not just about the magic client. It's about how do I make sure that once I get my first client, my second, my third client's gonna be right around the corner, right? Because that's when you really have predictable business. That's when your income really thrives. That's when you really have something that you can really base your lifestyle on, and that's to support yourself and your family for the next like 3, 5, 10, 15 years. Okay. So hopefully you learned something new from this video. If you want some help growing your business, maybe you've seen some of these videos, or maybe you're growing your business a lot harder than what you expected. Like maybe you started your business and just like you were good at accounting, you were good at bookkeeping, but the marketing, the sales, even how to price your service just isn't working. It's just not working the way you thought or you wanted. If you want to speed up that progress, if you want to make sure you have certainty that you'll actually reach the goal, go ahead and click the link either above or below the video to book a call with myself or a member of my team to see if I can help you inside of our training program. Okay? We can't help everybody. Like, I'm just being quite frank. Like, I am looking for a very specific type of person in a very specific circumstance because then I can just put you into our proven process. And we have like really good inputs, we have really good output, and then the result rate is very similar, right? So I am kind of like I am biased. I am looking for someone that's really easy to get results for because I don't really want to work with people where it's like I never want to have this thing where it's like I take someone's money and then it doesn't work for them, right? As long as you put in the work and you know that you're doing a consistent effort following those steps every single day, I want to make sure that you have success. We even guarantee it to a certain degree inside of the program as well. So if you want to go and learn more if you're a good fit for the program, if you want to see if this could actually help you out, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your day. Take it easy. Oh no, I can't hear anything. Huh, maybe you guys couldn't hear anything. I'll have to go live again.